Hello. This is the 137th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2223, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. Episode 137.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this.
Mm-hmm. We're ready to go. And just something I'd mentioned before we get to the main topic, so that our listeners can know. A couple of weeks from now, there's going to be the double eclipse.
Yeah.
That's where both the moon and Mercury block the sun. And so Dirk and I, we're going to be going along to witness that in person.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. Mm-hmm. If it works out, we can maybe even record from there.
That's the goal, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's quite exciting. I've never experienced that in my life.
No, and I've also not bothered to go along when it's happened.
Yeah, or maybe it's something that
if
happens.
I've not kept track, actually. How often does that happen?
I have no idea. Maybe every couple of thousand years.
Then I've definitely not been before.
They're making it into a big deal anyway, so
yeah.
I assume it's rather rare. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never been to a double eclipse before, not on any planet.
No, likewise.
Yeah, it actually kind of fits with the topic of today, kind of.
Loosely, I mean, there were planets involved.
Yeah.
A planet. Stuff in space.
Exactly, stuff in space. It's about alien life forms. And we've spoken about aliens before.
Exactly, so maybe our listeners are thinking, you talked about this already, what more is there to say?
Mm-hmm.
We came up with a whole new angle.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is like, before the Illuminati and the Martians decided to contact us, we had been looking already for alien life. And we did find different variations of alien life. Mm-hmm. Not as exciting as the actual aliens that we then encountered later on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we thought, we've been speaking about the aliens a lot in our show. How about we discuss the, let's say, more minor alien life forms?
And that comes into it is basically when folk were looking for aliens before we met the Martians and the Illuminati. We were really looking for aliens like us.
Yeah.
Not necessarily exactly like us, but, that we could understand. So living beings that spoke and walked around and drove cars and ate burritos, stuff like that.
Exactly. They need water and oxygen and
that was more the point. Really,
fast food.
And so we were looking for planets that would support those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And we didn't find them. So we basically overlooked a whole bunch of places, which in retrospect, especially after speaking with the Illuminati and the Martians, was a little bit short-sighted.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a lot more planets out there with potential for alien life or possibly actually alien life. Mm-hmm. But our search before we met these guys was not completely in vain, right? So we've occasionally found, let's say, different variations of alien life. Some were relatively disappointing, perhaps.
Sure, a few, what's the word?
Mishaps,
yeah, but not hoaxes, like not that someone did it on purpose, but basically false positives.
Yeah.
Like we think, oh, cool, we found some aliens, and then it turns out it's something else.
Yeah, and I think maybe we start with the less exciting ones, because I think the one that you're referring to was the first really massively communicated, we found alien life kind of thing.
Right, they jumped the gun a little bit, announced it before they'd really actually confirmed it.
And it's how you were saying before, right, where we were looking for planets that met all the conditions, and then we found one, and I don't remember even the names. For most of the planets that we'll be talking about, I don't have the names. But with this particular planet, this had to have life because it had water and oxygen and so on and so on. And then we set some research thing there, and then some humans, and then we were looking for that for years, for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And at one point, they actually found life, very minor.
Yep. Sure, some microbes.
Exactly. So, and how was that a false positive? You remember this?
Yep. So that those microbes were from Earth.
Yeah.
Basically, had been got there by accident. The people looking hadn't realized it, when they got back to that spot, hey, check it out, life. Yeah, but it's life from Earth.
And initially, there was for a while the theory, this got here independently, you know. So
that could have been a thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
maybe you right when the dinosaurs got wiped out by the meteorite smashing into the Earth, maybe a little bit of chunk of that meteorite bounced off back into space and went on its way, taking with it some stuff from Earth, and that's how it got there. But was not that.
No, it was the people that went there for research. They were the ones that brought it. So after a long time researching,
by accident, it's like they weren't doing it maliciously.
So that was the first moment where it was widely publicized. We found life. Then this got debunked. But there were other variations. There was I'm not false positive is probably the right word, but
in that case, yeah,
exactly. But in other cases, it was the exact opposite, right?
A true negative? No. Give an example.
Because there was a while later where it's a similar thing happened, where they found a planet where there had to be life, and there was actual
life. From afar, exactly. So I think our listeners know this, but the way that we can decide, hey, should we go check out that planet? Well, the first thing to check is through telescopes from Earth even, to see the way the light's refracted through the atmosphere of the planets, and through that to at least have a guess, is there an atmosphere on that planet, and if there is, does it have water, that kind of thing. So anyway, all the signs said, yep, this place could have life anyway. Get closer, yep, it's even looking more possible, and get there, I happen to land on the life and kill it. That was it.
Yeah, and then
it's just starting out.
Exactly, and then the same microbes that we brought basically wiped out anything that was remotely similar to a life form, and before we could probably categorize it, the planet was dead. Yeah. Or I'm not sure. We keep saying planet, but it was kind of like a loose definition, because it's any kind of celestial body, right? Because
above a certain size, but right, they didn't strictly speaking need to be
like a moon or a dwarf planet or a meteorite or anything that could possibly sustain.
And the ones you detect from afar, they need to be orbiting a star, but exactly also come across ones in other ways.
Yeah, and also in the past we would say, but at least it needs an atmosphere, but that it's also, as we know,
now we know, not necessary.
It's not necessary. Don't worry about that. But I think the third time, as they say, third time's the charm. I think it was actually the third time where we did actually find life in a very, very early stage. Right.
Relative. Again, this is the bias, coming in. Like, we're looking for life, sure. We're looking for complicated life that can make tasty food. And exactly, on this planet, there is life. And it's much at a much earlier stage of evolution.
Exactly. And then I'm not sure what the official term is, but the expectation is in about 2 billion years, we can speak with it. Yeah. So
assuming no interference.
Yeah.
And at least at the moment, that's the official policy, no interference. Some folk are saying, hey, we could speed this up a bit if we just land there and act a bit godlike. But okay, not right now.
I mean, we set up a few cams, and then we're kind of leaving them alone, but it's...
the cams to observe, but
it's also
not to interfere.
Exactly, but it's also the things like, we found life, and yay, and this is what we've all been waiting for, and then we have to wait 2 billion years.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. Oh, come on, But of course, you can't demand from an alien species that it's exactly at the same evolutionary stage.
That's what I'm saying. There are some folk who are saying not just so to, instead of observe, maybe send in some cyborg chips.
Yeah, just
bootstrap it a little bit, speed it all up. But
then it's kind of like confirming your own kind of thing. Yeah. If you start to interfere, then it's no longer.
I mean, it would be life, but it wouldn't be truly alien then.
But I remember, like, what was going the rounds was this. At the time, was this very, bored, disappointed-looking scientists that was sitting on this kind of like a bar stool, watching some puddle on this planet. There was really
some like mud skipper type things to plop on out.
Exactly, this was really telling. It's like, we finally found life, and
I mean that was more for show. Like, of course, there were a whole lot of so scientists and other folk. Really, there's so much research to do, so much to learn. But okay, for show, there was this one sitting on a bar stool, like you say, looking bored.
And also we were hoping for some aliens that we could speak with or play chess or learn from and so on.
What kind of alcoholic drinks do they make?
Exactly, this kind of stuff. But they have some time to go, but we wish them all the best. But I don't think we'll be having them as a guest on our show.
I don't think so, no.
No.
Barring some really impressive developments in the low-fidelity wave burner.
Yeah. Or some really massive health developments that we're already pretty happy with under 50 years of average lifespan.
To live to 2 billion or a bit more than 2 billion, that would be something.
I think the other spectrum of this is, of course, these species were 2 billion years away from being able to speak to us.
The other is the other direction, yeah? Like we come across a world where there was a civilization.
Apparently.
You got your buildings, you got your roads, you got all that good stuff, various states of decay, but that it's clear that life has been extinct for thousands, millions, even billions of years.
Yeah.
The ones where there's billions, you're really having to guess that there was a civilization here, because by that point it's all gone to dust. But, the ones which were a bit young, gone away a bit more recently, okay, they're still gone, yeah? There's no one to talk with. You just see the ruins.
And occasionally it was pretty clear that they seem to have blown each other up.
Yeah.
And it's and then it's also, okay, so they were around, I think the earliest was, I don't know, like a few 100,000 of years ago, right?
Yeah,
so
and it's not like we could have visited them, like humans weren't using spaceships back then.
No.
But still, it feels relatively close in terms of what we're speaking billions of years,
Exactly. Just missed them.
They could have just lasted a bit longer.
Yeah, they go, and it's like we find them, and then I know we don't know how far they were. That they know we existed. Have they been watching us skipping in the mud?
Have they sent cams? Yeah, exactly. Had they interfered for their own purposes?
Have they been looking disappointedly at us at the time, going
right, looking at their watch, coming, come on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, right, okay, for the one you mentioned earlier, 2 billion. At that stage, assuming their predictions were accurate, they would have known, hey, we just need to wait a few 100,000 more. Pocket change, we can do that.
Yeah. If only they knew we were going to be so fast. Or maybe they just didn't expect us to manage.
That's also possible.
Maybe they saw
this is all assuming they observed us at all. Maybe they didn't.
Yeah. Maybe they saw us and were like, these guys are never going to make it.
Yeah.
And then,
but they clearly haven't got the potential to make really good alcohol, so who cares?
Exactly. Oh man, that's just those are sad.
I mean, that's judgmental,
But I mean, like, I think also for the planet that we spoke about before, that's about 2 billion years behind us. Just we owe it to them to stick around. In 2 billion years, they're going to wonder, is there anybody else out there? And then we can say hi.
At the very least, we can leave some messages on their moons, that when they get to the moons, they can find out messages saying, hey, great.
Yeah, nice job. Congratulations on your first, something like that. So some really cool, encouraging messages.
Exactly,
encouraging. Stick to
it.
It's worth it. Don't mind us.
Yeah, don't give them too much. They don't say, hey, and here's how you can get to the other side of the universe in 1 week. But, give them something to reach for.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Kind of like an Earth legacy. And I think one of the things that we may want to point out is the more extravagant planet that we found. It's the one with the tiny robots. You remember this one?
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. A planet covered in robots, covered like a carpet, but millions of robots all over the planet. Really tiny ones.
All the same looking.
Yeah. Right. Duplicates of each other.
It almost felt like some sort of species or something, right?
Yeah. Like some obviously, weathered or damaged in some way, but clearly all of the same design, dimensions, capabilities.
Non-sentient, unfortunately.
Exactly, non-sentient. And all that they did was, drive around, seemingly aimlessly, like we couldn't work out their purpose, and just going honk, honk, honk.
And they would just kind of like walk, wiggle, drive, like move around the planet with no particular purpose. But they didn't seem to be having any kind of propulsion or energy or something was keeping them going.
Right. But it was like a perpetual motion machine of some kind, because you couldn't detect, okay, they're using this fuel over here and emitting this byproduct over here or anything like that. Yeah. It just seemed to be, self-perpetuating.
And also, we're speaking in the past, but the planet is still around, right?
Still around, yeah. But, so, especially initially, people who first realized there were these robots, they were like, oh, cool, here are the robots. That must mean somewhere else on the planet there are
exactly
something else, other people or other robots or some other thing going on. But no, there's been no trace of them.
Exactly.
Entirely just this one type of robot, that's all there is.
And also the planet is a completely smooth surface, right?
Yep,
so there's no...
completely barren.
No hills, no valleys, no mountains. It's completely smooth, and they just walk around. And it also...
Like some speculation is that basically they're an advanced form of Roomba that has, perfected itself to the point where they cleaned the entire planet, and, they keep going, but there's nothing left for them to clean.
Okay. They might have caused the equal surface, and they've kind of
they've done their
outlived
job.
their purpose.
Exactly.
And
they had no... they don't have any like programming to say, and by the way, when you clean the entire planet completely smooth, you can switch yourself off. So they just keep going, making the honk noise.
Maybe the honk noise had a really specific
That
purpose.
might be the noise to say, hey, we're ready.
Oh yeah.
We're done,
Oh, that's like the sound a Congo makes when it's done making their food. Oh, that's why they're constantly non-stop making the noise, because hey, we're done. Somebody
someone switches off,
or give us a next.
I'm saying switch us off. They're not sentient, is the point, But exactly, these machines, they've fulfilled their purpose. They're emitting the noise to say they're done, and there's no one around to, like, we don't know how to tell them, hey, cool, job done. So they just keep on going.
That's. I like that. I haven't heard that.
It's speculation, Of course, that's the issue. There is no evidence. There's no buildings. There's no documentation. So.
I can imagine it's kind of relaxing, to just touch down on a planet, sit around, and just have that little scuttering environment around you, regularly going honk. Can be relaxing, actually.
Could be.
Yeah. But I think that kind of all culminates in this one planet that was actually considered a bit of a highlight.
This was the last one we found meaning humanity found before we met the Partians and the Illuminati.
Exactly, the one that we were most proudest of, with the really creative name.
Well, obviously it was named this after it was explored, and so it's called Algae World.
Algae World,
and that's because. Can you explain why that might be? That this world is called Algae World.
And it is because the world is full of algae.
Its entire surface.
Yeah.
So I guess normally it would have been a water world, but the entire surface of that water is covered with algae. Is algae.
Yeah. And then there was even a contest, or not a contest, kind of like
proposals for names.
Everybody could hand in proposals for names for that planet, and then there was a massive global vote. For the name of the planet, and Algae World got the most votes.
Yeah, it is descriptive. It's accurate.
There were a whole bunch of more creative names, I remember, but all of them didn't get as much vote as this one. Right. And it covers it. It's easy to remember.
Yeah. And of course, submarines have been sent down to search below the algae to see is there any other stuff going on down there. Nothing's been. It's a big planet, still being explored, but at least so far, nothing's been found.
Yeah, but algae is pretty cool.
It is.
It's
very different from Earth algae. It's called algae, and that's the closest. I forget the word now, but it's similar to algae on Earth, but it is different. It's not the same stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then they have them in different colors and so on. So it does look kind of nice. It's slightly radiating, and but it's still not sentient. But I think we all agree that because it had this kind of like evolutionary kind of thing going, triumphing the honk planet. Yeah, and then that's kind of wrapping up all the alien life forms that we encountered until the aliens encountered us.
Yeah, and it was 2199.
Yeah.
So 24 years ago.
Yeah, and
I guess there'll be celebrations next year. 25th anniversary would make sense. I've not heard any talk of it, but it would be a strange thing to miss such an opportunity.
Yeah, they should throw a big party.
The place you work, the UFO pool.
The UFO pool.
They could. Maybe we could do our own thing, of course, here on the podcast.
Yeah, I will speak to them at work.
Yeah.
It's a good point, actually, that we should celebrate that, totally.
Would make sense.
But when we met them, and they also made us aware of the Bolies, the fourth race, as you will, which is actually...
we've still not spoken with.
No, it's another sentient alien race, but they're like evolutionary not as far as we are. We're basically the dumbest kid in the alien class at the moment. So we're leaving them alone until they're ready, just how the Partians and Illuminati did with us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it for alien life forms.
Yep. But we, yes, it is for our topic. And we have a listener question which somehow ties back into it. I mean, obviously we chose to answer this question today for that reason. Question is, we didn't, at least here in the notes I don't have the name of who sent it, but either way. The question is, do aliens have music, and what Earth music do they like? Obviously some assumptions there that they do like any Earth music, but okay, to spoil it, they do. So
exactly. I think the Illuminati and the Partians are very different. I remember the Illuminati, they do claim they have music,
right?
And they do claim it will blow our mind.
And and that's why and that's why they've not allowed us access to any of it.
Exactly.
For our own safety, apparently.
Or maybe, that's definitely true. But they also claim we can't actually hear it without any aids.
Sure, right. That our senses wouldn't actually pick it up.
Yeah. And remember the Partians?
Yep, they have music, and we have heard it. And it's different, of course. Like, they're singing in a different language, but it basically sounds like melodic death metal.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty big surprise.
It's
good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They make really good melodic death metal. And initially we thought they had heard it here.
Right, and we're doing like their own spin on it.
Yeah.
But no, they've been doing this for a long time, and maybe it's the other way around. I mean, they say it's not, they haven't, it's not like they sent some to Earth some time ago and humans were like, oh, that's the stuff. Nope.
And it's
parallel evolution.
That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, earlier I was trying to think of it too.
It's basically when something happens independently in two different places, it must be a good thing.
It exists in two places at once.
Okay, well, this can actually be the case. Yeah. So, but that's pretty cool. I've yet to hear any Partian music in our charts, but
sure.
I'm sure it's a matter of time. Yeah. But the other part of this question, remind me to write down the names of the people that sent
That's
these.
useful, yeah.
But was the second part of the question, what Earth music do they like?
Yeah.
And this was the same for both of them.
Right, which was a bit surprising because, like you say, Illuminati and Partians, they're pretty different in many ways. But in this case, they both really love Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry. It's, I have to admit, I didn't even know Chuck Berry.
It's in that time travel movie. Like, not him personally, I think, but some of his songs are in this time travel movie called Back to the Future.
Ah, really?
That's how I know him.
Okay.
I don't know him, but know of his music. Maybe is that how they heard of him too, maybe?
They've picked it up in space.
Ah, okay.
Somewhere.
But not as part of that film?
They said they found a record somewhere in space. And they played it, had Chuck Berry, and that was basically for them the final argument, or the main argument is to say, these guys are ready, we should speak to them.
I see.
Yeah, so both of them are Chuck Berry fans. I guess it's a nice mixture between...
So it's like the first music you listen to somehow shapes your tastes.
True. I
mean, I don't know if that was the case with them, but at least for myself,
Yeah, I guess. All right.
So, mystery listener who sent that email, thank you very much for the question.
Yes, I hope we answered it to your satisfaction.
Yep.
That brings us to the wrap-up part.
Yep. So, when you who have listened to this episode just now would like to send your own questions, please send an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the number 137 in the subject. Ask your questions away there in the email. And that way we'll know that this episode successfully went back in time.
That's it. And thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.